Not often that we would talk about a 56-7 win, J-Mart, but there's ever time. Today is the night, and the reason is Texas beats UTSA 56-7. But here's the rub. Here's the catch. Quinn Ewers, the starting quarterback, everybody knows who he is, what he's about, etc. Quinn Ewers goes out of the game. I believe it was like a muscle strain in his abdomen or something like that. And but I bring it up because most famous backup in all college football, maybe in all of football, Arch Manning comes in. 9 of 12 passing, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. J-Mart, I don't want to say it, but is it too early to talk about a quarterback controversy at Texas?
There's going to be a lot of people that do talk about it. I don't think there is one. But I think that it's a good problem to have if you're Texas because, yeah, Arch looked great. I mean, this is exactly what you want. You put him in there against a team. It's not quite up to snuff, obviously, with your talent level. And he gets all kinds of confidence early. He's got guys making plays for him everywhere, and he's making plays. He breaks off a big, 50-plus yard rushing touchdown. He throws a couple of deep bombs that look great. His first play from scrimmage was a 19-yard touchdown pass. You couldn't have scripted it better. It was perfect. It really was. There was nothing really to take away from it negative. You saw all the stuff that you wanted to see from Arch. I watched a good bit of it once he got into the game. I didn't watch too much prior to that because I just didn't anticipate it being much of a game, and it really wasn't. But once he got in there, you certainly wanted to see it. The future's bright for Texas. We already knew that. It's not like Arch was not going to be good. And you realize now, if Ewers were to go down, you're still a national championship contender. That I think is what you look at. You can see it. That there are some teams that are no longer contenders because you can look at their quarterback and realize they're not it. Here you're too deep. You're one of the only teams that I can remember in several years that's too deep at QB1. If Ewers is not available, then Arch is going to be right there. If Ewers is, you still can win the championship. It doesn't even matter at this point. But that's why so many people talked about him. Not just his last name, but his last name plus the talent, and the difference being the athleticism. And you saw it all on display. He gave you the whole deal. He basically showed you his CV out there. It was his resume. This is why he was touted. This is why he was talked about. Yes, his last name had a lot to do with it, but he's just really good. And it was something to see. It really was.
Yeah, I'm with you. Really fun day. Don't think that Quinn Ewers is not getting this job back when he comes back. Quinn Ewers, by the way, 14 of 16 passing, 2 touchdowns when he was in the game. The one thing I will say, listen, I'm not a doctor, believe it or not. Surprise, surprise. Hosting Fox Sports Radio at midnight Eastern. Probably not a stunner that I also don't have an MD. But abdomen injuries sometimes do take a while to recover. And if you look at Texas's schedule, UL Monroe next week, then Mississippi State at home, then a bye heading into the Oklahoma game. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Arch probably gets the start next week. And again, we'll see. I don't want to start just throwing stuff against a wall. But it wouldn't shock me if he got more game time and game reps. And I got to give credit where it's due, right? Is that, you hear the hype and how good is he really? How much of it is because of his last name? He absolutely looked the part of a 5-star kid. And by the way, credit to him, it sounds weird to say this because it's only his second year, but for sticking it out. I think there was some speculation that when Quinn Ewers decided to return for another year of college, does Arch want to sit on the bench for another year? Well, one, in football, you hate to say it, but you're only a play away from being QB1. But two, could have transferred somewhere else, but decides to stay. And I don't really have a ton else to add, but he absolutely, positively looked the part. I don't think there's a QB controversy, but I do think that Texas is in good hands no matter who is the quarterback.
Yeah, right. I think that, again, you're going to be fine if you have a backup quarterback. And to Arch's, and I'm sure he got this advice from his relatives, but you don't have to be in a hurry, man. You're in a good system. You're learning around a solid, offensive-minded head coach that understands the NFL side as well. You obviously have the pedigree, and you have guys that can help you in that way. And you're going to get your chance. Like, you're going to get the opportunity. The fact that Ewers comes back isn't necessarily a slight on you. It just, you're going to have that moment in the sun yourself. You don't have to rush this. You're going to get to the NFL unless you're terrible. And no one thought that he was terrible to begin with. I like the fact that he didn't feel like he had to go somewhere else just so he could play right now.